Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there tonight. Had yourselves a wonderful day, and I certainly hope everyone has been having a great week out there so far. Here to give you some information about what's to come, and I'm not going to speak much on what's going on right now. We'll talk a little bit on it in the beginning of this video, but really we're here to give you some updated information on this winter storm across the Front Range. Won't stay very long on that either. A good chunk of this video is going to be going towards tomorrow's severe weather threat. As you guys know, I don't really go live on here. I don't really have the setup to do that. And I know a lot of people are really tuning into the live storm chasers and just the people that, are doing the live radar feeds, which everybody does a heck of a job at that. But, here on this channel, we kind of keep things in the future just to kind of keep you guys aware of what's to come. But things are really starting to get active out there this afternoon, this evening. And I think by the time that this video uploads, we might have some tornado warnings. So we won't speak much on that, like I said, just because it's unfolding right now. Stay tuned to people going live. But let's really take a long look at what could happen tomorrow, which could be just as much of a high-end severe weather threat of what's going on right now. So we'll do that. We'll have everything time-stamped out. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rocking and rolling. So as you can tell, what's going on right now, very hard to tell. We're actually going to take a look at a closer look at the radar here in a second. But we do have severe thunderstorm warnings already up. Some that are just south of the St. Louis area, some that are just kind of south of the Topeka, Kansas region. And we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings out here in closer, I would say more so to the western portion of Kansas rather than the eastern section. But we're about to get probably a slew of basically severe weather alerts out here, whether it's severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. But this is what's going on right now. You're starting to get some mixing around the Denver metro area. Probably about to switch to snow here in the coming hours. It's going to fall fast and furious over a day and a half, 2-day period most likely. So the rest of the country, not really much to speak on. Watches, warnings, and advisories in this yellow area, that is tornado watches. That does include a large chunk of Missouri, and then northeastern sections of Kansas. Where you have the kind of this pink color right here, that is severe thunderstorm watches. So this is tornado watches. I hope I didn't just say tornado warnings. Tornado watches right up here for these counties, severe thunderstorm watches for these. And of course, we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings on guard right now. And then these are the winter weather alerts across the Rockies, the Front Range. Several areas have winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories for others, and we continue to have these red flag warnings down here in the southern high plains where we continue to have that fire danger risk. So let's jump right into this. So first off, let's take a look at the radar right now in Kansas. I think I have the radar right now out of Denver, so we're going to actually have to switch radars really quick, so bear with me. And let's take a look at what's going on right now in Kansas. Of course, by the time you folks watch this video, this will be old news. But you see these storms firing up right in here. Topeka's right here, Manhattan. These are just south of Manhattan. These will be the ones that have the capability of producing some tornadoes over about a 2 to 3 hour period. So if we start to see some crazy footage from some storm chasers out here, I would not be surprised if these are very fast moving photogenic tornadoes, if they do produce tornadoes. If they do, if these kind of lift above a warm front that's somewhere into here, then they will become elevated and mainly just big hail storms. So, Trey put out an awesome video this morning talking about that. Once these drift above the warm front, then they kind of lose that tornado threat. They lose the thermodynamics needed for tornadic development. So, the HRRR model doing a decent job. It does show these storms right out of here. It just shows storm initiation later. So it's already off with that. So, this is about 9 p.m. in Central Time out here. And of course, it's only just about 7 p.m. Central Time as I'm doing this video. But these storms are firing up. Excuse me, I almost lost my voice. These storms are firing up, moving through northeast areas of Kansas. They will continue to affect areas of Nebraska too. I think they become more elevated up here as they most likely move over that warm front. But I know there's not showing any storms right now in here into Oklahoma, but there is a very conditional threat of some supercells that could fire up along the dry line. If anything forms in this area right in here, it could produce all hazards. It's just, there's a solid chance nothing does. We just have to watch. But could be a lone storm or two that does produce down here. So we need to watch that. As we start to get into around after midnight, I think the severe weather threat does drop. We could have some storms that could produce some hail though. So that's Kansas. Let's go on and take it to Missouri and Illinois. So storms are already firing around the St. Louis area. The HRRR model not doing the best job at where it shows these storms firing. Has a more so, excuse me, I keep almost losing my voice for whatever reason. But shows a more so firing off south of St. Louis. But you see these storms here in northern Missouri also. This is where you have that tornado watch. And I'm telling you, this is around 9 p.m. These storms that you see here, Columbia's right in here. What was it? Kansas City right in here. These storms can produce tornadoes. They will have an opportunity for a couple hours before they lift over a frontal boundary that basically is separating very unstable air with more stable air. And after these storms kind of drift over that boundary, they become more elevated, more of just a hail producer. And then they just kind of get everywhere as basically the forcing just gets very amplified in the atmosphere. So, as we get into midnight tonight, these turn into more so bowing structures. Nasty line of storms kind of making its way potentially across northern Missouri if this is the way this plays out. Storming very heavily across the northern half of Illinois, and then these storms are ongoing in sections of Indiana, and we'll take it all the way to tomorrow morning where we will stop it, and then we'll go, start Thursday's threat where this leaves off. But this is what it could look like as we're waking up tomorrow morning across, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana with just a broken line of storms to really start off your Thursday. Let's talk about the updraft Felicity swath with this. So this is Kansas, and I'm telling you, maybe by the time I'm done with this video, we're going to have tornado warnings up in northeast Kansas. So please be aware, Topeka, Manhattan, all of northeastern sections of Kansas, even Kansas City, into obviously Missouri. This is a very highlighted area where we could have some rotation with this, okay? So, man, I don't know what happened with here we go. Oh yeah, I remember I was going to do it on the fly. So this is the updraft Felicity swath between now and Thursday morning. And listen, there's going to be some wicked rotation with some of these storms in northern Missouri tonight, all the way into basically the heart of Illinois. So, have a way to get alerts. If you go to sleep, pretty early in northern Missouri, have a way to get alerts, guys. I would pick tonight to stay up a little bit later. These storms over the next few hours, right in this region especially, could produce a tornado. This is showing where we would have rotation in this particular run of the HRRR model. So let's switch to snow, and then we're going to switch back to severe weather for Thursday. What's going on in Denver right now? We take a look at the radar and what we are seeing in Denver. Man, them storms are really starting to get going. Already have pea-sized hail being produced south of Manhattan. But let's go to the radar out of Denver. And what are we reporting over this? We're starting to get some really amplified moisture in here. Even had a lightning bolt into here. So we're having some sleet mixed with some rain. Now we're getting some rain snow mix. Things are about to get pretty wild here in the Denver area. If we take a look at just the precipitation depiction, trying to give its best guess of what's actually falling. This is all rain for sure out here near Fort Morgan, Wiggins, and those areas. But you're going to switch to snow here in the coming hours around Denver, and it is going to snow hard. And, we'll have the opportunity for some thunder snow also. So let's go back to the HRRR model. This is starting it off around 8 to 9 p.m. this evening here in the next hour or so. So we'll continue to get the really robust precipitation, more heavier precipitation in this. And by the time we get to the middle of the night, guys, it is snowing like crazy in Denver. Okay, it is really just targeting right on top of Denver. Starts to switch to snow all the way down the southern spine of the southern sections of the Front Range. And by the time we are waking up tomorrow morning, still snowing in the Denver area. Starts to snow potentially near like the Pueblo region, Colorado Springs, snowing like crazy down here, snowing across the foothills, the higher terrain of the Front Range. And we continue to keep this going. We'll take it all the way to about midday Thursday. Still snowing in Denver, snowing pretty good in southern Colorado now. We'll take it all the way to tomorrow evening. All right, late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. This is when this moisture you're seeing in eastern Colorado has a chance to switch to some heavy wet snow. So areas even like a waif, like east of the Front Range, begins to switch from rain to snow in this setup. This is where you'll have the opportunity to pick up a few, maybe several inches of snow. It depends on this setup. And then you keep this going. We're getting all the way till tomorrow, like late tomorrow night. After midnight, it is still snowing. Really specifically in eastern Colorado and southern Colorado. And we keep this going all the way out to Friday morning, snowing pretty good in southern Colorado. I mean, we take it all the way out to about midday Friday, and it starts to let up, but there is an opportunity for some of this moisture to creep right back into southern Colorado as we get a little bit deeper into the weekend. We'll see what happens with that. So how much snow are they calling for? We're really just focusing on Colorado. Sorry for anybody else I'm leaving hanging. I will show a little portion of Wyoming up here, 4 to 6 inches of snow forecasted in Cheyenne. And the Laramie Range is certainly going to get several inches to over a foot of snow depending on your elevation. Latest information from the Front Range here, 12 to 18 inches of snow forecast in Denver. Anywhere from 30 to 36 inches of snow in Evergreen, where it just started snowing pretty heavily. Castle Rock, 18 to 24 inches. Fort Collins, 4 to 6. Greeley, only 2 to 3. Lyman, 4 to 6 inches of snow. Colorado Springs, 8 to 12. Lake George, 12 to 18. Head a little bit further south. Rye, anywhere from 24 to 39 inches of snow, guys. Pueblos went up a little bit, 3 to 7. Woodland Park, 22 to 36 inches of snow forecast. Rush, anywhere from 5 to 11 inches of snow. It's a pretty big range. Trinidad, 7 to 12 inches of snow, and we'll get several inches of snow also in the higher elevations of New Mexico. So I know that was a really quick forecast, but cut and dry information. The storm is cranking up right now. It's going to get pretty crazy tonight in this neck of the woods for sure. Let's talk about the severe weather event for tomorrow. As of right now, we have an enhanced risk up for the orange area. This is really driven off, I would say, more so wind and especially hail. But I will say, as we wake up tomorrow morning and give you guys a revised update on tomorrow's severe weather threat, I could see this increasing to a 10% risk of a tornado, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit. As of now, marginal risk does extend all the way. Weird little glitch. That's cool. Marginal risk does extend from Detroit, Cleveland, all the way down to almost Austin, Texas. So we can have severe weather all the way into southern lower Michigan, all the way into Ohio tomorrow at some point. A slight risk, level 2 out of 5, extends all the way from Waco almost all the way to just south of Chicago. All right, level 2 out of 5. Enhanced risk in the orange, that's level 3 out of 5. Springfield, down here to basically all of northern Arkansas except northeast Arkansas. This could extend into northeast Arkansas, eventually eastern Oklahoma, and a very small section of northeastern Texas. Tornado threat, just a 5% risk as of now in the brown. 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location. No 10% risk as of right now. Okay, wind threat, 15% risk in the yellow of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. In the red, there's a 30% risk of that. Okay, so, there is a significant wind threat tomorrow too. With this mid-level flow screeching over this area, some of these storms will produce damaging winds. And then, of course, we look at the hail threat. Not only do we have the 15 and 30% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger, in this Hatch region, the black outlined area, this goes from Dallas all the way up to Springfield, Illinois, including Springfield, Missouri, almost including Little Rock, Arkansas. There's a 10% risk of significant hail. That's hail exceeding 2 inch in diameter or larger. Okay? Big threat tomorrow. First enhanced risk in a while. Well, we have an enhanced risk right now too, but you get what I'm saying. This is going to be I think tomorrow could be more significant than what's happening right now. We'll see. So we look at the ingredients with this. We'll kind of fly through this because we've been talking about this a lot. We'll do it one more time. And there's going to be another kind of warm front setup a little bit here, right here in the Midwest, where, St. Louis might drop into the dews into the 50s, stable, and then it might get more moist again. But as we start to get into tomorrow afternoon, as you can tell, you'll have this pool of low-level moisture, dew point screeching into the low to mid-60s, all the way into, Indiana, all the way up the Mississippi River, all the way to St. Louis, central Illinois. Dew points are deep in the 60s down here in Arkansas. Rich, moist air down here in Arkansas and Texas. I'm going to show more Texas here in a second. Louisiana, Mississippi, western sections of Tennessee and Kentucky. And we keep this going, guys. And, this moisture is still around. We have a pool of dew points above 60 that sneaks all the way into kind of the southwestern sections of Ohio. So plenty of moist air, just probably more stable air up here. More elevated storms that could produce some very large hail, even all the way up in here in this region. Okay, so we look at that, then we look at the fuel in the atmosphere, the CAPE. What's our CAPE looking like in the mixed layer CAPE? We kind of move. The atmosphere is already primed starting off tomorrow morning, but we move into tomorrow afternoon. Take it to about early afternoon. Cape level's already over 2,500 joules per kilogram across eastern Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, basically anywhere in these areas in orange you see that's over 2,000 joules per kilogram at Cape. Little nose of Cape that extends all the way into southern areas of Indiana, and we'll try to nose a little bit more fuel into Ohio even as we were getting into tomorrow evening. And there's a lot of energies just still chilling right here in the Mississippi Valley region, the Delta area, just waiting to take advantage or be taken advantage of these storms are going to move into this area. So, you see how the Cape just kind of evaporates, kind of just disappears. That is storms eating up that fuel. Okay, it's like gasoline to these storms. So definitely fuel in the atmosphere. Last thing we'll kind of take a peek at right here, we'll kind of look at the kinematics, right? That mid-level flow. And listen, there's plenty of lift in the atmosphere for these storms to get going. We're looking at this region right into here. You got this 40 to 50 knot mid-level flow. This is like a lifting mechanism for these thunderstorms. There'll be plenty of it up here for these storms to be maintaining tomorrow morning all the way through tomorrow afternoon. Plenty of lift in the atmosphere up here for storms. You're just having displacement up here where you do have the better kinematic profiles. They're displaced from the favorable thermodynamics. Remember, dew points are only in the 50s up here. So, more of an elevated nature in these storms. But down here, you do have enough mid-level flow for a legit forcing mechanism for these storms to take advantage, to form and take advantage of the atmosphere. And you look at that low-level jet, we'll kind of shift a little bit southwest. We will have a little bit of a low-level jet to work with tomorrow. And this will probably aid in the tornado threat right into here. Might be a boundary. There could be a bigger tornado threat up into Missouri too. Okay. So what could the radar look like tomorrow? We'll take a look at Texas. I don't want to leave my friends in Texas hanging here. Tomorrow, most of the morning, afternoon's pretty quiet. And then we have to watch our friends here in northeast Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth points north and east. This northeast corner of Texas, this is around, we'll kind of back it up a little bit. This is around 5, 6 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. These storms that form have the capability of producing all hazards, but I think large hail will be the biggest threat. So please be careful if you live in this area right in here. These storms will eventually sneak into southeastern sections of Oklahoma, and you see these nasty storms in Oklahoma, which we'll talk more on here in a second. And they will, carry on potentially. Texarkana region, they will carry on all the way into late into the evening. And I think by the time, we get into tomorrow, to Friday morning, I think, we could have some more storms to get going. But I think, the initial storms that form for tomorrow, weaken, and then we'll have another push of storms potentially down here deeper in Texas. All right, what about Arkansas? I think this will be the epicenter of the worst weather tomorrow. We take it all the way to about lunchtime. Not a whole lot going on, but these storms fire off right after lunchtime. Look at these nasty supercells, and these will likely be supercells when they initially fire up. Fort Smith into here points north, Fayetteville, Little Rock down here, Springfield into here, Tulsa right here, kind of like in a triangle right between all of that. You are certainly going to run the risk of some tornadoes early tomorrow afternoon into just the rest of the afternoon. But these will have the chance, guys, to produce baseball-sized hail. Large hail with this setup right into here. We've already had some nasty hailstorms, some weird weather in this area of the country so far this year. Seems like it's been like that over the last few years, especially in Arkansas. But check out how these storms kind of cruise northeast. There'll be plenty of push in the atmosphere to really get these storms on a move on. And look at these storms around St. Louis. Like, that's a nasty looking supercell. We're not sure if that's exactly the way it's going to unfold, but this is the middle of the later portion of the morning afternoon. Nasty storms into here into central Missouri. Look at these storms riding for a period the Arkansas-Missouri state line. And then they kind of break up into multiple segments, right? We start to get some storms that cruise into the Boot Hill, Missouri, after the sun is setting or around when the sun is setting. These storms are down here that we just talked about for southeastern sections of Oklahoma. Then we got another line of storms developing where storms just rumbled through a few hours prior, into northeast Oklahoma, into southwestern and southern sections of Missouri. And then it's like we could get a couple rounds in this area. I mean, this is as we were getting into like just before midnight. These kind of combine into like a line of storms and really start to hit northeastern Arkansas, the Boot Hill, Missouri. Basically, this kind of southern Mississippi Valley region, the Delta region, will start to get some nasty storms, and it could be a ruckus of a night for tomorrow night in the middle of the night for like western Tennessee, western Kentucky, as these storms kind of cruise on to the east and southeast, and we could wake up to some nasty storms Friday morning for like Huntsville, Tupelo. You folks could certainly be dealing with some nasty storms to greet your Friday morning. So what about the updraft velocity swath for this area? Well, you'll notice right here that's just going to pop up out of nowhere. All this is what happens right now into tonight, tomorrow morning. But this right here that pops up, this is what happens tomorrow afternoon. You notice that, the updraft velocity swath definitely gets excited between tomorrow morning and Friday morning. Plenty of rotation showing up with these storms that this run of the HRRR model is depicting. So we're definitely going to have some solid rotation with these storms, along with large hail, damaging winds, of course. Also, look at this streamer right through St. Louis. I'm not saying there's going to be a tornado right through St. Louis, but St. Louis has definitely got a big threat. Just even tonight. I mean, we've already had some nasty storms around the area. Last thing we'll show is, the Midwest and Ohio Valley here. We'll start off where we left off several minutes ago. Storms will already be rumbling through the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. You might get hit by a line of storms around midday tomorrow in like the Indianapolis area. Some more so just heavy rain, maybe some storms in southern lower Michigan. Could get a line of storms that push us through Cincinnati, Louisville, Dayton, Columbus, maybe Cleveland. And you might think, okay, well, the storms are done. But you notice these storms are firing behind it. And look at these supercells. Where is this warm front going to be? If it's right here in this region, these storms like right in here might just be producing big-time hail. If the warm front can lift a little bit further north, which I don't think it will, then you'll run that tornado risk also further into Illinois. We have to see what happens. But check it out as we get into 8, 9 p.m. tomorrow. Nasty storms in the southern half of Illinois. More storms moving into Indianapolis that could produce large hail, gusty winds, an isolated tornado. And then, yes, look at Ohio getting some pretty, nasty storms probably in the late evening hours of Thursday night, tomorrow night. Look at these storms rumbling through Kentucky. And then I think as we get to about midnight, things begin to stabilize more so up here for Ohio, Illinois, and Indiana. These storms will start rumbling through the entire state of Kentucky tomorrow night. And then by the time we're waking up tomorrow, Friday morning, we could have a line of storms heading right towards the southern Appalachian Mountains. So that's all I got, guys. Stay safe tonight. It's getting quite active out there, that's for sure. So stay safe tonight. God bless all y'all, and we'll do it again tomorrow morning. God bless.